Hello, 6th grade. We are going to be continuing our discussion about matter. Last week we talked about what matter is made up of, and one of those things were atoms. So in the last video that you watched with me, we talked about atoms and the different parts that make up an atom. So today we are going to talk a little more in depth about elements. The past few days in class we got to look at the periodic table of elements. So the first thing that we are going to do today is add elements to our notes. So if you want to pull out your notes from the last video, either you typed them or you wrote them down on a piece of paper, you can go ahead and pull those out. And if you look at my notes here, they're organized based on matter. So this is all about matter. And then I have my subtopics here being matter, atoms, and now I need to add elements. And since elements is going to be another subtopic, I need to make sure I have my bullet point matching atoms and matter here. So I need to go up here and hit this decrease indent button twice so it matches. And then we're going to type in elements. So our first thing that we need to add here is our definition. So if we go back to our slides from class the other day, we have our definition of elements being that elements are substances that cannot be broken down into any other substances. So if we switch back over to our notes, we can go ahead and add that definition in. So elements are substances that cannot be broken down into any other substances. And then we're going to hit enter, and then we're going to hit our tab button so that way we can add more information underneath elements. Let's go back to our slides here and talk about our definition here a little bit. Our definition is that elements are substances that cannot be broken down into any other substances. So if we look at this example here of gold, I have a piece of gold, and right here is a single gold atom. So if I put together a bunch of these atoms, they are going to make up this piece of gold. So if I cut this gold piece in half, I'm only going to find gold atoms. It cannot be broken up into anything else except gold atoms. So if I look at this example of sulfur, these sulfur pieces are only going to be made up of sulfur atoms here. So another way of kind of rewording our definition to make it easier to understand, I like to say it like that elements have to have all of the same type of atom. So if we want to add this into our notes here, let's switch back over and type an element is made up of all of the same types of atoms. So if we go back here and look at our slides, let's look at this example here. We have aluminum. Aluminum is only made up of aluminum atoms. And then we have oxygen, and oxygen is only made up of oxygen atoms. And then we have chlorine, and chlorine is only made up of chlorine atoms. So if we go back here to our notes, we want to add some examples too. So some of the examples that I just talked about would be gold and sulfur. I just want to point out that when you all start to work on your concept cards, there are going to be a lot more examples that you could write down besides gold and sulfur. So anything that's listed on the periodic table, you would be able to use as an example because they all are elements. So if you want to use something more exciting like magnesium and lithium or titanium, you can go ahead and do that. But for right now in our notes, let's just use gold and sulfur since these are the ones that we talked about in class. So this will be all that we're adding to our notes today. So thank you for watching.